Hey, welcome back. Today's topic is simple. Keep it simple. So, as part of the Smart Goal series, the first item on the list is to keep it simple. Now, what does simple mean? Well, if I'm explaining a concept to you, I want to make sure that you understand it, okay? So, if you can't understand it, that is a problem because that means there's an issue with my communication. So, you want to make sure that your goals are simple. They should be so simple that a young kid can actually understand it, maybe your children, or someone who's older in their years, let's say a parent or a grandparent, can also understand it. Okay? They need to be able to understand your goals. You want it to be simple. So there's no question as far as what you're actually shooting for. All right? So when you're shooting for goals, make sure they are simple. Now, why? Oh, why are they simple? Well, you want other folks to actually be able to help you. When you have a goal, believe it or not, you might actually be able to get support for that goal from other people, right? You don't necessarily have to always rely on yourself. You can get help from other people. Now, if other people know what you're shooting for and what you're doing, they can help and assist you. So if they understand what you're doing, it makes it a lot easier for them to fill that gap and to help you get where you actually want to go. So that's the why. The why is because you can get help without even asking for it. Someone just may have a friend, have something lying around that may actually be able to help you get to your goal faster as a result. So make sure that they actually understand it. Okay? Now, one measurable project that I remember that I'm actually going to take a little field trip outside for in a few minutes is my shed. My shed. Remember those commercials or whatever? Oh, like the she shed or something, where the woman's like, "Oh, I want a shed." And the husband's like, "Do you really need that?" It's like, "Yeah, she shed. I need a she shed." Well, this isn't a she shed. This is my shed. But I can remember that project like it was yesterday. It was probably a good 7 or 8 years back. But it was not all it was cracked up to be. It seemed like a very, very simple goal. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, but it didn't turn quite out the way that I expected. So follow me out and I'll show you some more. All right. Thanks for joining me for a trip out to the shed. Wanted you to have a look at what what it actually looks like. So going into my backyard, I was actually able to get out and mow the grass today, so it doesn't look horrible. But there it is. There's my shed. Now, this was quite a project. Remember I talked about simple? Well, the idea of a shed was simple, but there was nothing simple about putting it together. The biggest thing was I didn't even know where to get started. Saw a nice kit that looked just like this at Costco. Decided to take the plunge. They delivered it. 1,200 pounds. 1,200 pounds. Had to store it in the garage. And then again, I told people about my goal. So my goal was to put up a shed, and I told my dad, and my dad happens to be a very good contractor, so he decided to help me out. So, what did it take to actually build my first house here? Well, first thing is a foundation. So as you can see along the bottom, we had to put a foundation in. We did not put concrete in. We just put a wood foundation, but we made sure, I think we put a 6x6 in the back and a 4x4 in the front. And then we rested the entire frame of the shed on that foundation. Now, the next thing we had to do is we had to actually put up the beams, actually put the floor down. So once we put the floor down, then we could actually attach the beams for the wall on the outside. And then once we actually did that, we could put the doors in. But we didn't actually put the panels on, so it was just a frame. Now, everything was going well until I found out that I didn't have any help anymore. So we got just about as far as the walls actually went up, and we had the roof up, but we just had the rafters. And after the rafters were done, we got some plywood for the roof, and then that was it. My dad came, helped me out for a few weekends, and then he wasn't able to come out anymore. And so I was on my own. So I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to get through the rest of this? So the biggest challenge for me in putting everything together was what you see right there, the roof. So I had never put on a roof before, but I was making sure I was taking notes for everything my dad was talking to me about. And so I had to finish the plywood myself. I had to make sure I cut the ends of the plywood. Then after I got the plywood up, I had to put down tar paper. The tar paper essentially helps the shingles adhere so they don't slip or move around. So once I got the tar paper down, I also had to put something called flashing on. Now you probably can't see it because it's a little dirty at the moment. But what flashing does is that makes sure when water actually falls on the roof, the flashing helps push it away from the walls so you don't get any water getting into the shed itself. So I had to do that, and then I had to put the shingles on. And again, first time putting shingles on, but I learned my lesson about that. I started from the bottom, went row by row by row, and then I did a double layer at the top. Now, one fun thing that happened along the way is I can remember I had to use this big tree here to actually support myself because my ladder wasn't tall enough. So I had to tie a rope around the tree. I had to get on the top of the roof, and I had to do all that work. But I can remember right down there, I'm thinking, man, I didn't remember bringing a black hose out here. And what do you know, it was a 4-foot long black snake as I was putting something on the roof and about to come down. Scared the pants off of me. But you know what, I made it through. I was able to get the roof on, and then once I got the roof on, I was able to paint. And well, as you can see, I have the shed that I worked on, what was it, almost 8 years ago now. It's now together and in one piece. And so, in taking that simple idea, I was able to break it into smaller pieces and kept working until it was finally complete. So, I do appreciate the help that I got in putting this thing together. I appreciate the fact that it's still up, and if you can't tell, I do appreciate things that do take hard work, but I'm looking for them to last. And I hope you do the same with your goals and what you're set out to do. So I hope you join this or enjoy this segment on the shed and making things simple. Again, put a simple idea out there and you'll get the help you need to make it done or to get it done. And I look forward to catching you on the next episode. Bye.